The SNAP benefits is a unique situation. I got a summary of the whole legal analysis, and it certainly looks legitimate to me. The contingency funds are not legally available to cover the benefits right now. The reason is because it's a finite source of funds. It was appropriated by Congress, and if they transfer funds from these other sources, it pulls it away immediately from school meals and infant formula. So it's a trade-off. There has to be a pre-existing appropriation for the contingency fund to be used, and Democrats blocked that appropriation when they rejected the clean continuing resolution. So the way to make this stop immediately is we just need a handful. We need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to do the right thing, wake up and say, I'm going to say no to the Marxist far left pressure, and I'm going to do what's right by the people, the 42 million Americans in this country who rely upon this essential nutrition assistance.
So in politics, there's a lot of lies, you know that. But then like they say there's the damned lies. And then I don't know what the next step or two after that is, but you just saw an example of it because Mike Johnson is 100% lying in multiple ways. He has no interest in doing right by the 42 million people that rely on the SNAP benefits that apparently are in like a day or two going to be cut off. He doesn't care at all. What he cares about is carrying water for the administration, which is choosing to cut off those SNAP benefits. And so we're gonna dive into all the ways that he's lying. You won't be surprised that he's lying. First of all, if you've paid attention to his work up until this point, but also the fact that he said, I got the legal argument and it certainly looks legitimate. Oh, you seem like a man that really did your due diligence there. It looks legit. I mean, I glanced at it and it's ink on paper, so that's probably fine. I mean, why would the Speaker of the House look into it any more than that? But don't worry, we did, a lot of great analysts out there did. So we'll be breaking down all of that. But understand that the propaganda that you just saw, it's not just coming from Mike Johnson. The actual Agriculture Department's website has this posted right now, if you were to go. Senate Democrats have now voted 12 times to not fund the food stamp program, also known as SNAP. Bottom line, the well has run dry. And then says it's an inflection point for Senate Democrats. They can continue. Hold on, this is on a government website. They can continue to hold out for health care for illegal aliens and gender mutilation procedures, or reopen the government so mothers, babies, and the most vulnerable among us can receive critical nutrition assistance. So look, that's a lie in a lot of different ways. First of all, you know, if you've been paying attention to politics for a while, the Republicans try to kill SNAP every 6 months, and they do cut it massively every year that they stay in charge. They literally cut it by tens of billions of dollars earlier this year. So trying to posture as if you're the champions for a program that you, if you could snap your fingers and wish it out of existence, you would have done it years and years ago, is a little bit rich. Also, on the gender mutilation, like MAGA, are you ever going to get bored with everything in your life being about trans people? Like everything, it's an excuse for it. You don't get anything in life. Life can never be any better or any easier because something trans people. Does that not at some point bore you? Like, I know that you're driven by like hatreds and being pointed at a group of vulnerable people and told to like sick them or whatever, but like, could you at least choose a new group? Because I think we're all getting very bored with this. It's very, very ridiculous. And so that's on the official agriculture website. But you have not just at the federal level, you have Republican governors like Glenn Youngkin trying to get in on this, saying the Democrat shutdown will cause SNAP benefits to run out, blah, 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 blah. Again, to be very clear, the shutdown is not technically a Democrat shutdown or a Republican shutdown. You need a majority of votes to pass a continuing resolution. If you don't have that, it's because there's not enough votes. Now, the Republicans would say it's because we have this bill that doesn't continue the Obamacare subsidies and the Democrats won't vote for it, so we're gonna call it their shutdown. But the Democrats would say we also have a continuing resolution and it does fund the health care, and so you're not voting for it. So it is literally insane to say that it's a Democrat shutdown. And the idea that they would put on a website, completely, like, if you have not been paying attention to politics for very long, this is not a thing that would have happened prior to this administration. But I even see articles on like Axios and Politico that just reference it as a Democrat shutdown. And that is just propaganda at this point. Now, we're gonna get to a couple more of the substantive lies that you saw from Mike Johnson, but JR, I wanted to give you a chance to jump in and talk about what could be in a few days the death of SNAP.
The desperation is on full display. That's the one thing I definitely noticed. Keep paying attention to Mike Johnson. Sadly, the reason why I'm having a slight bit of insanity going on is because I listen to Mike Johnson a lot. Mike Johnson is getting more and more desperate. His terms are changing. I notice I haven't heard him use Marxism yet. He's pulled out Marxism now. That's the next line that they're going to pull out to make sure people think they're afraid of something. What's Marxism? Damn. I think now that Mike Johnson's talking Marxism, now I'm going to start believing him. They're running out of their talking points. They're running out of their ways to convince folks that they have some kind of leg to stand on. They're losing this debate. Everyone knows that they are always against SNAP benefits, as you point out. They're talking about baby formula, bro. Are you kidding me? They were talking about how they're trying to. People need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. No more gimmies and handouts. But somehow now they're all about baby formula and SNAP benefits. Next, they're going to say they're all about healthcare coverage. When we all know they've been trying to snatch away healthcare coverage since forever. Donald Trump hated John McCain not only because he was actually in the military, but because he was the one guy who blocked them from snatching away more healthcare benefits. Remember, even the slight little sliver that we do have, they hated him for that. They think we all forgot all of that stuff. But now they're gonna evoke all these things that they said are, as they said before, are Democrat agenda items that they always hated are now theirs. Are you kidding me? Nobody's buying this. That's why they're getting desperate. As a matter of fact, the reasons these are getting so much more crazy, all these excuses, is because I don't know if you saw this, but in the Daily Beast, they pointed out, also quoting the New York Times, Donald Trump trolls behind Mike Johnson's back.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We
I'll
got
stop
that.
Then.
We got that. I want to prove, we're gonna go to graphic 3 so I can prove 2 points. One, that the Republicans have always wanted to kill SNAP. So it's very rich that they're like clutching pearls right now. And also the way that the media runs cover for the right. This is a prior headline. House Republicans' proposal to cut SNAP spending would save roughly $300 billion. Do you know how it would save $300 billion? Because we wouldn't be spending it on SNAP. That's great. Now imagine if President AOC someday is like, we're gonna cut the military budget in half. Do you think Politico is gonna write, President AOC's proposal to cut military spending would save $600 billion a year? Does anybody think that's how they would present it? No, of course not. Now, to the substance of why this is a lie that like Mike Johnson and Trump are both like, no, there's nothing we can do. The well has run dry. Well, first of all, bear in mind, they moved money around to pay the troops, right? Even before some weirdo right-wing billionaire decided to donate $130 million illegally to pay for them, they were already paying for them. They were moving that money around, which Mike Johnson in that video just implied, well, it's been congressionally delegated. We can't move it to anything else. Also, earlier this month, the White House announced that it was providing the WIC program, the Women, Infants, and Children program. They're going to give it $300 million. They've been moving money around there. They've been moving money around so that Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services workers continue to get paid. Immigration enforcement officials are still going to be paid. They're moving money around for all sorts of things. But SNAP, the thing that they have always despised, weirdly enough, that would be illegal. We can't do that. And also, by the way, the last time we had a shutdown back in 2019, they literally moved money around to keep SNAP going, which in hindsight is a bit of a shock that they did that at all. But they did it then, now it's illegal, except that it's not. He's just lying. And so look, at the end of the day, we can point this out, but it's on the Democrats. Well, first of all, it's on the media to be honest about this, which they're not going to be. So then it's on the Democrats to point out how both the right and the media are lying about this, because this is the dream for the right, a crisis that they can use, like we saw in Argentina, for austerity. Where, oh yeah, no, we keep doing all the elaborate stuff that we want, spend hundreds of millions of dollars on fancy dancing rooms and stuff like that. But food for the most vulnerable people in the country, we just can't get it done. It's illegal, and we love abiding by the law here in the Trump regime.